Hey buddies, we are in the California Trail Interpretive Center, and we just wanted to do two videos, probably an inside one and an outside one. So these are the covered wagons that people would travel in from the East Coast, like New York and Boston, and go out west in, and they would put all of their family and all of their possessions, toys, food.
They would have to carry all their food with them because there was really nothing out here yet. There weren't towns along the way. People were coming out to settle on new land that wasn't occupied.
So they would get all of their gear and all of their supplies, and they would stop probably before the Mississippi River, or in places like St. Louis.
Get all their provisions, all their food, and the equipment they were going to need, because once they got out there weren't going to be any stores to buy supplies, so they would have to bring shovels and axes and farming equipment, as well as.
So you can see in the picture there, they would attach.
Team of oxen.
Yeah, team of oxen, sometimes horses, but I think oxen worked better. So this would have been some of the stuff you would have seen inside one of these wagons. Quilts,
This is really
flour, sugar, rice, beans,
coffee.
yeah, pots and pans.
Gunpowder. They would bring their guns to protect themselves, and also to hunt for game, to have extra food if they could.
So they have little block displays that show the children who visit how they would try and
Pack
all their gear in the back of the.
So this would be a box of clothes and linens and winter clothing.
Like that trunk there.
Yeah. A stove if once they got out, they could build a cabin and set up a stove to cook on and keep warm.
So here is a display of a wagon wheel. So I don't know if you can turn it, Grandpa.
This would be how they would know how far they had gone.
It was an odometer.
It's an odometer. Each time the wheel goes around, there's a little peg. See, here it comes, and it's going to turn the screw on the odometer and turn these dials. And they would count how far they had gone. That way, if they knew that the next place to stop was 50 miles away, they could keep track of it and know that they were getting close.
So the Platte River, some of the places they would have camped. So I'm going to pan around here, and these are sort of displays that show you what the clothing people would have worn. Bonnets.
And how they would have cooked.
Over an open fire.
Over an open fire, right?
So evening meals would have been bacon, biscuits, and beans. So, all right, I'm going to look over here. So here are settlers coming in contact with the Native Americans. So that's what a settler would have looked like. And
very often they would trade with the Native Americans for supplies that they would need. They could trade some of the pots and pans they had, or beads for clothing.
I'm going to show you a picture on the wall. The artwork is what a wagon train looked like. They would gather all the wagons around a center spot and try to protect themselves
From animals or,
Oh,
bless you,
excuse
or
me.
other people at night.
So, but yeah, they were wagon trains. Families would travel together or with other settlers.
Sometimes a group of people would hire a guide to show them the way. They would have somebody come with them who knew the trails.
So I'm gonna
to help guide them. Go ahead.
Nope.
Sorry.
So these are some of the places on this map here. There were many trails. The most famous is the Oregon Trail, but there's also the Californian Trail. There's the Mormon Trail, and there's one more. I can't think of it right now, but so this was the Oregon Trail. This was the California Trail. And the Mormon Trail came into Salt Lake City.
Right. So here is Salt Lake City,
Where Uncle Tom lives.
and right up in here is where Uncle Tom lives.
So
Just outside of Salt Lake.
other types of carts. So not every passage went happily. Some people didn't make it and weren't able to get to their final destination. They wouldn't necessarily get to California or Oregon. Sometimes they would settle.
Right. They would settle somewhere further east if they weren't able to get all the way there.
All right, so I'm going to show you the rest of this. And they have art of of a Native American settlement here.
So not all it wasn't that there wasn't anybody out here when the settlers came, but the people who were here, there weren't a lot of them, and they were Native Americans. Many of them were nomadic. They would move from place to place following the herds.
Coyotes.
Huh, look at that, a coyote.
So here is one of the situations where when they made it to the desert, sometimes the trip didn't go as planned, and the steer, I can't,
oxen.
the oxen, sorry, I can't remember the name of it. They would have to dump their possessions and keep going by foot. So that's,
Back to ground.
so some of the Native Americans would take reeds and tie them together and make canoes out of them. Here's a picture of what that would have been like, sort of like a kayak. I don't know if you can see it well, but when the settlers came through in their covered wagons, this was some of the stuff that they would come across. I don't know. I'm doing my best here. If you see this painting here, this is an interpretation of, this is a man, And this is how much snow they had gotten. Most probably over by Truckee, California, where we stayed the other night.
Yes, they get lots and
Lots of
lots
snow.
of snow in the wintertime.
But the settlers weren't prepared for that. And this is the part of the museum that shows when they got to California. Now, you're going to hear about a lot of people went from New York and Boston out to California to pan for gold, to find gold. And this is what would you call this? A display
A
of
display showing
them panning
how
for
they
gold.
would pan for gold. They would dig up the soil and put it in a slough. I think they call it a slough, a slough, with water running through it, and it would rinse the dirt off, and they would catch pieces in the pan and find the little specks of gold and collect them up. So lots of people came out looking once they heard that there was gold out in California. Okay.
We're gonna end it here, and then the next video is gonna be outside.